Hey, this is Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly, and this week we're going to talk about a movie that's on HBO Max. Came out earlier this year. I was going to see it, and I was like, I don't know. It's okay. Couldn't make it out to it. It's an interesting premise. It's based on some sort of story by A.M. Shine. It's called The Watchers. And what it is there's this lady played by Dakota Fanning. She's basically sad and has never gotten over the fact that she pretty much accidentally killed her mom. And she has a sister, we find out, and her sisters, they haven't talked in a long time. She leaves her voicemails and she's going off to the woods for I still don't understand why. She gets stranded out in the woods in this untouched forest in Ireland and runs across this little place with three other strangers where there's this plate glass window where they can't really see on the other side. And at night, something comes out and watches, and they have to hunt for food during the day because they can't go outside at night, and they have to keep everything locked. And there's the watchers outside watching them, and we don't know who the watchers are. That's the plot. Is it any good? It's not terrible. Once again, it's one of those movies that's average at best. It's okay. Some of you are really going to like it. If you're really into fairy tales, fairies, all those kinds of mystical creatures, cryptoid, whatever, this movie's probably for you. It sells itself as a horror film, and to me, it's much more of a fantasy film, like a lot of M. Night's movies. It's not terrible. In fact, his daughter's a fairly decent director. It's just an average movie, though. It doesn't really take you anywhere that you haven't been before. There's not, the twist at the end isn't really a huge twist. Of course, you knew there would be a twist, but it's not really a big twist. In fact, the exposition parts, which I usually hate because exposition stops a movie, character stops to explain the whole plot instead of organically kind of figuring it out as you go along with just the dialogue. Great writers do that. Stops to explain it. That part actually I kind of enjoyed. It's beautifully shot. Dakota Fanning's a wonderful actress. Olwen Ferrer, I can't say her name. I'd never heard of her or seen her in a lot. She was in that Texas Chainsaw movie on Netflix a couple of years ago. She played Sally, and she's been in a couple other things since then. The cast is fine. It's just meh. Should you run out and see it? No. Yeah, it's okay. If you have Max, check it out. If you're into and I keep saying fairies because it deals a lot with fairies and mystical creatures. Really, it's kind of more of that movie. It sells itself as a horror film, but it's not really horrific in any way. It's dark. It doesn't necessarily, there's just nothing scary about it. There's also nothing overly interesting, but I feel that I'm not the target audience. This is probably a movie for a lot of you out there who will probably enjoy it, and that's great. So, a lot of people hated M. Night's movie Lady in the Water because it's a fantasy film. I actually liked Lady in the Water. It's a little like that, as if you like that, you'll probably like this, but if you didn't like that, this isn't for you. So, should you watch The Watchers? It's okay. I'm going to give it, I hate doing this, but it's middle of the road, 5 out of 10. Nothing to write home about. There's not a lot to talk about here because it's just kind of a middle movie where if you've got an hour and a half to kill, check it out. Sorry, there's just not a lot to say. There's not a lot of crap, and it's not overly good. In fact, it's completely forgettable. This has been Joe Lewis of Bonehead Weekly reviewing The Watchers.